Newly sworn-in Attorney General Todd Blanche is already in the hot seat. Yesterday, the country's top prosecutor refused to say he'll always act independently from President Trump. Listen.
No, I'm not going to pledge that. And no attorney general should ever pledge that. The president, if I were to pledge I will be independent of the White House, what that means is that if President Trump says, I want the Department of Justice to go after every violent criminal in this country, which is what he has said, what you're saying to me is I should say, no, sir, I'm not going to do it.
The AG, shirking a post-Watergate norm, is renewing questions on President Trump's influence over the Justice Department. Even now, you see here his photo is still draped over the building's exterior. CBS News legal reporter Katrina Kaufman is here with us in studio to really break down what this all means. Katrina, good morning. The new Attorney General is clear. He's emphatic. He says he'll never do anything illegal. He'll never accept. President Trump, he says, has never asked him to do anything illegal or unethical. But what is the significance of Blanche as the leader of the DOJ saying that they won't have complete independence from the White House?
Errol, as you referenced, since Watergate, since what happened with President Nixon, it has been viewed as imperative that there is this divide between the White House and what happens in the Justice Department. It is supposed to be completely independent. We're now hearing something a little bit different from Todd Blanche, who you and I also both sat in courtrooms with when he was President Trump's personal attorney. And it's raised all these questions of whether he really can remain fully independent from the president. We heard in that interview that he wouldn't say that he fully would, but we did hear him change his tune a little bit in another interview. Let's take a listen.
The president loves disagreement. I think he would expect me to tell him no. It's not whether I feel like I could. I think that the president, there's a misnomer about President Trump, which is that he calls me up, wakes up in the morning, calls me up and says, Todd, go prosecute this. That's absolutely not the case.
So we do hear Todd Blanche saying that he will push back on the president, but at the same time, he says he's never asked him to prosecute anyone in particular. We all did see when the president asked Pam Bondi, the former Attorney General, to go after Letitia James,
I was just thinking that.
To go after James Comey. And when she didn't do it fast enough, he let her go. Now we have Todd Blanche in that seat.
And we saw the president send that message via the social media.
Yes, so publicly, we all saw it.
Viewers can look at that for themselves. What else stood out to you from Blanche's comments over the weekend?
There were a number of things. One is that he did express support for Jeanine Pirro. And we know that there has been some tension ever since she dropped the case related to the reflecting pool, where the president believes there's been vandalism. She says the evidence just doesn't support that. So we did hear Todd Blanche voice his support for her and claim the president also still stands behind her. He also talked about the anti-weaponization fund again. He says that it is still dead, but when pressed on whether people who stormed the Capitol on January 6th could still try to get any compensation, he did say that there is a way to do that through the courts. So he didn't fully say that they would never get compensated. He said he wouldn't actually judge that on television during a news media interview. But he is still affirming that the anti-weaponization fund is dead.
And among all those headlines, what's the takeaway for viewers from this weekend? Because some of those comments have really caused controversy among Democrats anyway.
Errol, I think that's such a good question. But I think the thing that really stands out most of all is Todd Blanche saying that he will not fully pledge his independence from the White House. That is a marked difference from anything we've seen in the past. And I think that's probably the biggest takeaway.
Yeah. All right, Katrina Kaufman, great to have you this Monday. Thank you.
Thank you.